Welcome to The Cynical Developer, the podcast that helps you to improve your development knowledge and career through explaining the latest and greatest in development technology and providing you with what you need to succeed as a developer. We've recently launched our Patreon page, which can be found at cynicaldeveloper.com/Patreon. If you aren't familiar with Patreon, it's an easy way for those who are interested in this show to help out by simply pledging a small amount each month in sponsorship. Now that could be as little as $5 a month, which is about £3.80, or as much as you like. You will enable us to dedicate more time creating more content to help you, including videos, more blog posts, and even more shows. So if you can, head over to cynicaldeveloper.com/Patreon and get involved. In this episode, we talked to Ryan Dean about a new platform called DreamerMade. Ryan Dean is the founder and CEO of DreamerMade. When Ryan couldn't find a place online to take the next steps on his idea that worked with his zero budget, he decided to create one. The result was DreamerMade, a collaborative community where members use their unique skills and passions to support each other's projects. Welcome to The Cynical Developer, Ryan.
Thanks, James. I appreciate you having me.
Not a problem. Thank you for taking some time out of your schedule to come and talk to us about a new platform.
Of course, yeah.
It's something very different, I think. I don't think we've spoken to anybody so far on the show about something like this, which it's quite exciting. It's something a little bit different. It's nice. And your Twitter bio reads, "We help the dreamers of the world bring their projects to life." To cut it down, it's a little bit longer than that, but that's a pretty big statement. So what is DreamerMade?
Yeah, so it is a big statement. I agree with that. But I do believe it, because DreamerMade, it is a platform where anyone can start a project from beginning idea to finish and actually have a finished product or whatever it may be. So what's unique about it is that really you have that ability to connect with others with different skills to bring that project to life, rather than having that need for money right away out the gate. Because so many projects I've seen over the years, my own included, have died, so to speak, because I haven't had something in a certain area. And I realized it wasn't necessarily money I needed, it was the skills I needed to buy with that money. So that's why I kind of cut that money part out and focused on connecting people together in one platform to work on these projects.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're a bit of a man after my own heart. I've done my fair share of my own little ventures and projects over the years, and some of my friends sort of always joke that I'm on to the next bigger and best thing to try and make myself out in the world. And I always try and do everything off of nothing, or a very small budget that I've managed to sort of put to one side. You know, I've pulled up web design companies, web hosting companies. I even started a tropical fish import company where I bred and sold tropical fish. It had pet shop license and all sorts of things. So just doing it from nothing has always been sort of like a big thing for me, because there's a lot of people out there who seem to be successful, and they're always made off the back of mummy and daddy giving them lots of money to start it. And I don't come from that sort of background myself. Grew up with very little, enough for what we needed, but there was never large amounts of cash. So it's always nice to not owe anybody anything when you set out to do something for yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got DreamerMade. It's a platform for sharing stuff. It's a collaborative system. So how does this differ from the likes of GitHub and other collaborative systems that are?
So one of the main differences with GitHub is it's focused primarily on open source software. And with DreamerMade, I want to make it more flexible. I love the GitHub platform, and I actually use it for our site. So, but it was that same aspect, but really wanting it to connect on different types of projects, not just software, but also if there's something creative you want to do, if it's a venture, if it's something even you want to do for a community project, maybe a nonprofit, just something to put it out there. You might not be 100% sold on it and want to dedicate your time, but maybe someone else will, and they'll want to jump on board. I mean, I'm sure once everyone starts jumping on board and starts talking about it more, it makes it more exciting. um, versus when it's just in your head. So with that, that fish business you're just talking about, I'm sure at first, if no one was really talking about it, or if you're telling them those ideas you've had, your friends, um, it might not have been as exciting to pursue.
Yeah, definitely. And the aquatics company that I had in my head was it was my little brainchild for several years, and I'd always sort of said to myself, one day we'll give this a go. We will do this, and it just sat there, and it sat there, and it sat there, and it wasn't
Yep.
until I came together with a friend of mine who he was a bit down on his luck. He was struggling to make ends meet, really. And I said, we both share this passion for fish. I've got this
Mm.
big idea. Why don't we do this together? And we gave it a go, and we ran it for 3 years or so. And it started to get to the point where it was going to be a viable business. And without that coming together of the two of us, it would never have happened. Now, circumstances changed. We had a couple of bad inputs, which wiped us out financially, and then trying to build that back up. I then my wife became pregnant with the twins, and it was a case of I need to focus on what is actually paying the bills, unfortunately. So
Mhm.
so that went to one side, but without the collaboration side of it, it would never have happened at all, and it would never have given my friend that confidence that he needed to actually get out there and start doing his own thing. And he's come on leaps and bounds since, and he's able to provide for his family now, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I love when you mentioned the shared passion. Yeah, that's really what it's all about, finding that shared passion and then going for it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think for a lot of the stuff that I've done in the past, like I've put together the Cynical Developer podcast. I've done a lot of graphics work and things in the past. And I think that's because I'm utilizing my different skills, which I'm lucky that I have the design skills and the programming skills to do things. But I've never taken anything that step further and made it into a physical, tangible product. Keeping online with the fish keeping, I had a design for a filter system which would get rid of certain chemicals out of the fish tank, which didn't exist at the time. And I think similar products now exist, but back then I didn't know who to talk to get it made. I didn't have the people. I didn't have the skills to actually get it into a format that would be able to be processed by a factory or somebody like that. And I guess that's where this platform would come in.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect example, because that's um, yeah, from beginning to end. Really, there's a lot of things you can do, and like you mentioned, you have the skills in different areas, or maybe you even know someone that has a certain skill that you do need. But at some point, you're gonna eventually, and this is what happens to most people, myself and others I've spoken to. You kind of just hit a wall. You're just like, okay, I have these skills, I have these. Okay, we got so far, but now it's like, okay, we can't get past this one step. We really need help with this one step to move forward. And a lot of people, they stop.
Yeah. So these people are coming and finding DreamerMade and registering on there saying, "Oh, I'm a good 3D model creator, or I can 3D print stuff, or maybe I don't know. I'm good at stitching. I can quilt things, something like that." And they put their skills out there. Is that how it works? How do they get involved with a project?
Yeah, that's ideally how we're trying to make it work. We're actually making some adjustments right now with it so that onboarding process is smoother. It might not be as specific as, oh, I'm great at cross stitching or this specific skill, but it does have the ability for the general categories of, design, maybe it's legal, um, stuff like that, different categories. But at the moment, we have been connecting people as they join. We've been making it a little bit more personal and approaching them and just saying, hey, are you working on anything interesting right now? If so, let us know if you need anything, if you have a specific skill set you're missing. And from the people in our community, we can kind of pull from them and connect them. And then if there are people that are saying, oh, we need this skill, like there's someone that kept saying they needed an app developer. And so we kept looking for, keeping in mind, like when we were speaking to different people at events and connecting with people online, that okay, if you're an app developer, hey, there's people on here that are looking for that, and they're in this area, they may be able to help you with your project in some way.
Sure. So the model that you're using at the moment, is it mostly word of mouth? Is there some other sort of means and ways that you're trying to get people involved?
Yeah, it's mainly been word of mouth, which it was definitely tough at first, especially since I have this larger idea in my head, and when especially starting out, that's with everyone. They have this grand scale image of what they see, and you have to bring it down so if people understand it one step at a time. So yeah, but it's been working out pretty well. Now it's not so much me searching for people and trying to reach out. It's more so the people we've helped in the community. They've contacted one of their friends. They said, "Hey, I would have never been able to have this project even get to this next step if it wasn't for DreamerMade or the connections I've made on DreamerMade." So that's been working out well, which I was pretty surprised with, because you kind of always see that you need to do some big marketing campaign. You need to do something drastic like putting thousands of dollars into ads. But yeah, we haven't had to do that yet, so it's been good.
Yeah, that is really good. And I've looked at certain similar things for promoting the podcast and other things, other projects that I've done, and all that side of it does come very, very expensive very quickly. And if you haven't got any investment, or you haven't got mega bucks behind you, then it can be very, very hard to get it off the ground.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So if people, so these people with skills, they come to you, come to DreamerMade, register, say, I can do this, I can do that. They can then actually say, well, I've got this project as well. Does DreamerMade host the project? Does it have like a is it, what do they call it on Google? Is it a Google Circle type thing, where you all come together and contribute and collaborate on that?
hmm Yeah, so they each member has the ability to contribute and create. So that's kind of like the ideal member is someone who does both, because I feel like everyone has those things that they want to work on. But then there's people that, sometimes they really enjoy contributing, and they might not have anything at the moment where they need or have that urge to create, which is perfectly fine. But I feel like everyone has that, those two sides to them. So yeah, with DreamerMade, there is the project that you're able to create, and I guess that's similar to the Google Circle aspect. But I'm sure has. I actually haven't checked into Google Circle, but it sounds like that's pretty much what you're talking about.
Sure. So on the project page, can they put videos and things on there to sort of say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're about, are you interested in helping, this is who we're looking for, that type of thing?
So on there, yeah, they have the comment section, main area where you can add contributions, you can ask questions, you can share files, but it's also broken up into steps. So on the left are steps, and on the right are the discussion area. And the steps are where you can say, okay, we need this, we need someone to help design this logo, we need someone to help get this contract together for us, things like that. Really, sky's the limit with how you want to break it down and which areas. But yeah, each project at the very top has the goal, so everyone's on track, so no one's confused about what is the goal of the project.
Sure. So it sounds like it's a bit of a hybrid between the likes of freelancer, people per hour, Fiverr, sort of meets GitHub, meets Kickstarter, but all without any money exchanging hands.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a little bit of aspect someone's mentioned before. It's similar to like Trello, like a project management board meets freelance type site like people per hour. So yeah, no money exchange at the time. We were exploring different options for that, but none of them made sense. We really wanted to focus on what would be best for each member and how they were bringing about their project and trying to make it happen. And so when we were adding the payment system up, we're like, this doesn't really make sense for what we've been talking to each member for. So that's kind of been scrapped, and we've been working on other things. But yeah, we'll see where that goes.
Cool. So one question that's just sort of popped into my head with that, we're talking about the exchange of money between people working on this project. Do you have stuff in place to deal with copyright? Because obviously, if I bring a project that's not an open source project, it's a project I want to build to make money, and I go, well, I'm looking for someone to do this and someone to do that. Is that something that I would have to take on myself to ensure that maybe they signed NDAs or something like that, or do you provide that service?
So at this time, we don't provide that service, but there are things in place to make it a little bit easier on you. So when you create a project, by default, it's secret, so nobody can see it but yourself. It's not, indexed in Google. It's not shown on the site anywhere. You can invite people in, and as you invite them in, that's at your discretion. So we've had a request from multiple members for a non-disclosure agreement feature where basically it's an NDA enabled project, so that when people come on board to see the project, they might just get the gist of what the project's about, like maybe the name and the goal, and then they can actually sign that NDA, and that will make it a little bit smoother transition. So we've definitely considered it, and that is on the top of our list from what we've heard. But intellectual property, all that is definitely important for us to make sure you keep and you protect to the best of your ability. So of course, if we can help out in any way, we're going to try to.
Sure. So is it all like startup ideas or side projects that you deal with, or do you have any larger companies that are sort of trying to explore different things? I think we'll do that on DreamerMade.
So we have been approached by a couple larger companies. They've liked the idea of a larger pool of people to pull from, just to have the ability to have different people from different backgrounds contribute, versus some of these other platforms that are for idea generation or collaboration. So, but we haven't actually finalized anything with those companies, but we have had established companies and even nonprofits put projects on there. That's always been pretty interesting as well, to see someone that's already been out there for a while, and they need that fresh set of people with a fresh perspective on their project and what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I think it takes quite an open-minded business to come forward onto something like this, because it's a very different platform, I think, to anything I've seen before. It's a very interesting take on it. We touched on it at the start, but this isn't restricted to just software projects, is it?
No, not restricted to software. All types, really. Creative, community, venture, anything you're trying to make. If you wanted to make a desk and you wanted someone to help you, like, I don't know, like I just made not too long ago a tent for my truck bed. I have a truck bed with a truck cover that lifts up, and I needed some help with it. So that's something I put up there, and made it, used it for camping a couple weeks ago. But that type of stuff, really sky's the limit.
Cool.
As long as there's someone interested in it, if there's that shared passion, like you were mentioning before, then why not?
So this could be just a one-off thing. It's not necessarily something that you're looking as a project to do and sell it en masse to the public. So you've made your truck bed tent, and that's it. That's the end of the project, sort of thing. Or is it that you're going to push that envelope a little bit more and take that design to somebody and say, right, how much would it cost to build this and sell it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was really just a necessity, something I wanted to do, a personal want that I wanted to have for camping, and thought would be unique and kind of cool to have. But I have had people, once I've shown them, they're like, well, that's really cool. Do you have plans for that? Do you have something I could even buy from you? So I was considering something along those lines, maybe not doing anything full time, because there are so many things I'm working on at the moment.
Yep.
And you have to figure out, okay, prioritize what's the best thing to do now. So I might even just make that a little bit open source, where I create the plans and share them with people. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's the flexibility with the platform. There's no set thing you have to do. You don't have to sell what you're making. You don't have to plan to monetize it, but it's completely up to you.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like it'd be a good platform for one of my side projects, because I have a lot of these ideas to do stuff, to learn things, and I never get round to them. And this idea comes back into the fish keeping world, and at the moment, I'm running 15 fish tanks in my tropical fish house, which is a converted garage. At one point, I was running over 100 tanks out there, and doing water changes and cleaning them was it was a big task. And the hobby became water changes rather than keeping fish. And I've got an idea and a principle, sort of few diagrams behind it, but a self-maintaining fish tank with an app and a website and all that sort of stuff. Have it all linked up to the likes of an Arduino and Raspberry Pi, that sort of thing.
Oh,
but,
wow, yeah.
Like, to build that, I've got all the bits I need, I think, apart from the actual the Arduino bits where with the pumps and stuff on it to start doing it. But it's finding the time to learn it. And I think for something like DreamerMade, I could go and put the plan together and go, right, anybody out there able to do this? Because for me, it's a project that I want for when I buy my next house. I want to make a smart fish house so that I could talk to my Amazon device. I won't say her name because she will pop up and start screaming that she doesn't know what I'm talking about. And say, Amazon device, go and do a water change on tank 3, and it would automatically take out however much a preset amount of water was and then fill it back up again. And it could be cold, it could be warm, depending on what setup I've got. And I could put all those details in there and get somebody who's already got the expertise to help me with it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I was thinking of names as we speak, as you're talking about different areas. I was like, wow, yep, there's a hardware engineer I know. And even my aunt's on there, and she works at Scripps Aquarium in San Diego. And I was like, oh man, like, even if there are some areas that you might need help tweaking with the figures and things like that. Yeah, definitely. That's exactly the type of stuff.
Yeah, that's quite good, because I've sort of thought about it before, and I've been unable to sort of think of anywhere that I would go with it to sort of say, hey, anybody got any help for this? Because Twitter, there's not enough space to say what I want to say, to get the idea across. Facebook, I could create a group about it, but it would probably go largely unseen. Whereas I think this DreamerMade system is bringing those people in and bringing them together into a room. Because I could shout about this idea from the rooftops, but if there's nobody there to listen, then I might as well not be saying it at all.
Yeah, exactly. The sad truth.
So I think I've answered this question myself, but I'm going to put it to you, is why would I want to use your service, and what do you offer that will make my project a success?
Yeah, really with those different skill sets behind you, and with that ability to create without having offering any monetary compensation, without that being the prerequisite, I feel like that's the value that DreamerMade gives and offers.
Sure. So if there's no money exchanging hands, you're not creaming a bit off each project here and there, is there a fee to join?
Nope, no fee to join. We've looked at those options, but nothing made sense, and really, that's probably for me at a fault because there's definitely people, when I've mentioned fee, they kind of back up, and I'm like, well, no, I don't want you to back up. I want you to really jump in there.
Yep.
So that's why we've been playing around with it. But there have been some exciting options that have been coming up. There's been members we've helped out who have actually offered equity in their company, so to have more support, some more specific driven support from the community for certain areas. So maybe taking care of graphic design, taking care of tax advising, different things like that. So that's something we actually were thinking about doing a long time ago. And that's, when I first thought of it, was an idea. So it's interesting that it's coming kind of full circle at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't want to push you too much on how you make your money and things from DreamerMade. So we won't go too far into that and make you sweat on that one. But we said that in your introduction that you had an idea, you had a dream, as somebody famous once said, and that pushed you into creating DreamerMade. Well, what was that dream you had that made DreamerMade a thing?
Yeah, well, growing up, I had, in my family, my dad always had ideas, my brothers, sisters, mom, and I always know this at an early age, oh, we pursue these things, but then we'd stop at a certain point. So, when I was about 22, I was working a full-time job, kind of a dead-end job. And then I was like, you know what, there's this idea I had for a self-defense aid, and I really want to pursue it. And I was like, I have no idea about product development. I knew some about marketing and a little bit about graphic design, but nothing about actually creating a mock-up and really getting this thing going. So I started just sketching on paper. Finally, had the courage to reach out to somebody online on a freelancing site, to kind of pursue this and help me finish the design and help me make it happen.
Yeah.
So I've actually, that was a great contact. I'm still working with them to this day on that project. But during that time, we didn't have, we're trying to do the patent search. We're trying to do getting the patent protection on it and all these things. And it just was, all this money going into it. And we realized, okay, this isn't possible. With production, we had to get, like 3 different types of protection on it. We're like, man, I don't know if this is even possible without the support of others, or a big bankroll. So that's really what drove me to start DreamerMade, is having that ability to connect with those different people. And that's what we've actually used on the platform. We've used that project on DreamerMade, and it's actually securing its patent this month, which is pretty amazing. My first patent, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Nice.
But yeah, it's been years in the making. But DreamerMade's, was definitely the focus, to help others get past that point, because it's definitely draining when you work on something and you're so passionate about it, and then you hit a wall and you have no idea how you're going to get past it. So you just stop, and then it's always sitting in the back of your mind, like, oh, why didn't you pursue me?
Yeah, it's fantastic, and that I've seen similar stories happen before, but because I'm from a software background, it's normally around there where a developer will have an idea that they want a system that does a certain thing. There's nothing out there that does it, so they go and build it so that they can use it, and then what they built becomes actually their thing, their main source of income. It's their job, it's their passion and stuff. But you really are dog fooding this in that circular fashion. You had an idea, you didn't know where to reach out to people, so you made somewhere to reach out to people, which gave you those contacts to be able to do that original thing, that original project, and now it's moving forward and it's succeeding, all because of something else that you did that is also a success. That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm hoping for the same success stories for many other people, even you. If you hop on there,
yeah,
be exciting to see that happen.
Yeah, definitely. And when I find the time, because I am so stretched thinly at the moment, I'm trying to. I'm involved with so many different communities, with different projects in tech, in other hobbies. Like I've said on the show many times, I don't do downtime, so I'm constantly on the go. So when something new comes up, I've got to drop something else. And at the moment, I'm trying to claw back some of this time. So hopefully, I get to the point where I've got all my ducks in a row, and I can maybe branch out into something like this and give the project management time, because I'm not that precious over the idea that I wouldn't put it on there and let other people build it to my spec and stuff, even though I've got the skills to go and write the software side of it. But I would definitely want to be hands-on with project management side. But it's definitely something I'm going to consider.
Awesome. Well, that's great.
Yeah, it is exciting, and I think if for other people out there and you that are out there that are listening that have got ideas for projects but don't know where to start, this is like an ideal platform to just stick your idea out there. Say, does anybody want to get involved with this? Because it's one thing being involved in a Slack community or a Facebook group or something like this, but I guess you don't really know who you're dealing with, whereas this sort of system, these people have come together because they want to help each other. They're not on there as a byproduct of something else.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it's going to be quite a healthy community around this project, around this DreamerMade.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of the people that are listening out there in listener land, if they wanted to get involved, maybe they wanted to just join in and help with the project, or they've got a project they want to start themselves, where do they go? Where should they start?
Yeah, they can go to DreamerMade.com or just search DreamerMade. And yeah, signing up is free, and you can go in there, explore the different projects that are already out there for the ones that are public to the community. But you can also go in there and create it yourself. But yeah, like I said, it's free to join, free to jump in there and help other people. Really, it's up to you how you want to contribute or create.
Awesome. And if you want to sort of reach out and talk to Ryan on Twitter or other platforms, his links and details will all be in the show notes for this episode as well. So make sure that you check those out. And we're just out of time now for today's show, but it's been a little bit different to what we normally talk about, but it's fantastic nonetheless. And I think it's a really exciting product. And sort of community building enterprise. So I look forward to seeing where this goes, and maybe we should come back in the near future and see where it's evolved to and where you're at, and maybe your product is out there that people can buy that you've been working on. So that'd be really interesting. But
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so thank you for coming on and talking to us again today.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, James. Really appreciate it. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And thank you to you guys and girls out there for listening. This is The Cynical Developer. I'm James Stoddart, and you've been listening to Ryan Dean talking about DreamerMade. If you have any questions about this or any other episode, then drop us an email, a tweet, or leave a comment on the website where you can find all the resource links, show notes for each episode. And if you enjoy this episode, please leave a review on your favourite podcast platform, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever it is, and help The Cynical Developer to reach more developers around the globe.